Hi guys. Since we've got Halloween coming up, I thought I'm gonna do the Halloween thing for my video on my face. No, I don't have anything on my nose, it's just a decoration. So today we're gonna be doing chapter 12 as promised. I'm not gonna whisper as I usually do. I'm just gonna read quietly, and I hope you're gonna like it. Alright, so let's do it. Really unusual. So, chapter 12. Marie was back out at the greenhouse in a side yard when the moving truck from Providence arrived the following day. Just reminding you, Providence is where she used to live before she came to Port Bliss. She greeted the man with an enormous smile, relieved to be able to wear something other than the changes of clothes she had packed 5 days ago. The driver seemed a little taken aback at the hug she gave him. Okay. He handed her the bill with an awkward smile. As the movers brought her things in, Marie went upstairs and looked at the large hole that was still in her wall. Just reminding you, the builders that she hired in previous chapters, to her surprise, unpleasant surprise, they made a huge hole in one of the bedrooms. I think it was the bedrooms. It had been 3 full days now, and Scott had not patched it up yet. In fact, she hadn't heard a single word from him. She was starting to worry that she may have to find another contractor, likely insulting both Scott and Adelia in one fell swoop. But she had other things to worry about right now. She did not have time to worry about hurting the feelings of 2 locals that she barely even knew. To distract herself, she focused instead on a small list of things Scott had left her to do. Things that she could do on her own. That would probably cut the cost of the repairs, cleanup, and renovations. The first thing on that list, it was cleaning the gutters. We all love that. He had even left one of his ladders, thoughtful, by the porch for her to use. She set up the ladder and climbed to the top, armed with a broom she had gotten out of the shed. As she neared the top, the ladder started to wobble, but she steadied it easily enough. That was a bit weird. What a sigh thing. She started cleaning the gutters out with a strawless end of the broom. All kinds of gross gunk came out. Leaves, twigs, mossy looking stuff, and to her dismay, a bird that had been dead for quite some time. She cringed at the sight of it and backed away just a bit. When she did, the ladder tottered and she overreacted. And she overcorrected. She suddenly found herself falling to the right. She dropped the broom and acted purely on instinct. She reached up with both hands and grabbed the gutter. It held her weight for about 2 seconds, before she started hearing popping noises. Scary. By the time she thought to let go, the gutter had started to calm down, but only partially. She still held on as it fell, swinging as if from a jungle vine. Or vine, my pronunciation. As she swung back and forth like some weird, helpless pendulum, she grew red with embarrassment. It increased tenfold when she saw she had a visitor watching her. Well, that's embarrassing. A car had pulled in directly beside her own vehicle. As Marie hung from the broken gutter like some lazy Tarzan, she watched as Posy Flint got out. Reminding you, Posy Flint was the lady she met in a previous chapter. Posy, she sort of helped her out with a bloke who was in a cafe, making fun of the house of her aunt. Well, you sure know how to pull on the show, Posy said with a laugh. She had 2 grocery bags in her hands and a wild smile on her face. Thanks. Maria looked down, realizing that the ground was only about 5 feet away. Okay. I always have a problem with changing the pages. So, realizing the ground was only a few feet away, and she let go of the gutter. You okay, sweetie? Been better. How are you, Mrs. Flint? I don't know who Mrs. Flint is, but my name is Posy. Now, it looks like you had a rough morning. Let's go inside. I'll rustle you up something for lunch so you can see what you'll be working with. Marie escorted Posy inside, still feeling rather embarrassed. She looked at the busted gutter on her way in and heard the wind-like sound in her head as more of her dwindling savings disappeared. Understandable. Inside, Posy prepared a lunch consisting of a delicious cranberry chicken salad, yummy, and an Asian veggie salad. It was all absolutely amazing, and there was so much of it that there were plenty of leftovers for dinner. Marie ate those leftovers on the patio that night, organizing the list of small projects that continued to grow in her head. The greenhouse, the walkway in the back, fixing the gutter she'd broken today. She got ready for bed that night, excited for the future. While she brushed her teeth, she realized that her former life in Providence already seemed like so far away, like some other world with some other person. She paused as she walked back into the bedroom. A little flash of fear ran through her as she looked at the bed. Dipper sat there, arms extended and facing her. When she had first discovered Dipper, she placed her downstairs on a bookcase right in front of Wuthering Heights. I presume that's the book. Not only was Marie certain she had left Dipper downstairs, but she knew the little doll-like figure had not been perched on the bed 5 minutes ago when she walked past it. Hey, Boo. Boo is the dog. Boo came dashing into the room. He looked up to her and caught his head. Did you get Dipper and put it down there? He walked over to Marie and plopped down at her feet, looking up at her with sleepy eyes. He obviously cared nothing about Dipper the doll. Okay, so we are not sleeping in this room. Not tonight. She gave Dipper one last uncomfortable glance and then headed down the hallway to once again spend the night in the room she had often occupied as a little girl. Try as hard as she might, she could not remember bringing the doll upstairs, and she certainly wasn't going to puzzle over how it had gotten there when it's just so late and so dark outside. Such mysteries were better handled in the light of the day, adding yet one more detail on her list to do. With her first cup of coffee in hand next morning, sun rising over the beach, Marie ventured back to June's room and peered inside. Dipper was still there, sitting up and looking toward the bathroom door. Better rested and in the light of day, it was easier to rationalize what probably happened. Maybe I did put her there, Marie told herself. I fidget when I get anxious. I probably carried her around all afternoon when I came inside and was just hardly aware of it. She plucked Dipper up from the bed and carried her back downstairs to the sitting room. She parked the little doll in front of Wuthering Heights and gave it an untrusting glance. Setting up at what she was now thinking of as her office, Marie took her laptop outside and once again balanced her checkbook. Based on what she currently had in savings and the meager bit she had in her primary checking account, she started to worry. Things were going to be very tight for a while, which is understandable. You're opening your new business. It was also worrying that there was still a large hole in her upstairs hallway wall. She hated to do it, but she was going to have to get pushy with Scott, or maybe hire someone else. Before she had time to get too upset about this, she heard Boo barking around the side of the house. She then heard a friendly male voice and a series of footsteps coming up the patio stairs. She expected to see Scott coming up, profusely apologizing for his absence. Instead, she saw another familiar face, one she had not seen in a week. Robbie Dune. Robbie Dune was in that restaurant and her childhood sweetheart. Robbie Dune gave her a shaky frown as he came up the stairs. He held a cup of coffee in each hand. Thoughtful. Knock, knock. I'm sorry, but who are you again? Marie joked. I feel like I should know you, like you're someone from my childhood or something. I know it took me forever to get around here, but hey, I bring you coffee in the form of apology. Apology accepted, Marie said, taking one of the cups. Welcome to my office. Please have a seat. She grinned at him and couldn't help what she said next. It's great to see you, Robbie. He sat down on the opposite side of the little picnic table. So, still turning the place into bed and breakfast? That's the plan. So June just left the property to you? Yeah, it seems she played one last prank on me. I mean, it's a great prank, mind you. It's just a little overwhelming. How's it going? She wasn't sure how to tell him, a man she barely knew at all, that she was already worried about running out of money, and the place hadn't even opened yet. Or that even though her website had been live for 5 days now, she hadn't gotten a single reservation or query. Besides, My total inexperience, you mean? I'm sure you'll be fine. You've got an entire town as well as June's memory behind you. She smiled at him and could easily remember the boy he'd once been. She snuck a peek at his left hand and was a little ashamed at the relief she felt when she saw no wedding ring. She opened her mouth to ask him what he'd been up to all those years, but a dinging noise from her phone interrupted her.